Here's something that might shock you. The greatest decade for action cinema wasn't the 80s like everyone claims. It was actually the 1990s, and these 10 films prove it beyond any doubt. Sure, the 1980s gave us some legendary action heroes and memorable one-liners, but here's where it gets controversial. The following decade delivered a level of technical mastery, storytelling sophistication, and pure adrenaline that Hollywood has never managed to replicate since. We're talking about an era that produced not just great action movies, but perfect ones from opening scene to closing credits. These aren't just crowd pleasers or popcorn entertainment. These are masterclasses in filmmaking that combined cutting-edge technology, brilliant performances, and jaw-dropping set pieces in ways that modern action cinema still struggles to match. And this is the part most people miss. While today's blockbusters rely heavily on CGI spectacle, these 90s gems achieve their magic through practical effects, real stunts, and genuine human drama. But here's what makes this list truly special. Every single film delivers from the very first frame to the final shot. No weak third acts, no disappointing climaxes, no filler scenes. Just pure, unrelenting excellence that will leave you questioning whether modern Hollywood has actually gotten worse at making action movies. Heat showcases cinema's most explosive bank heist sequence. Michael Mann isn't just a director. He's an architect of tension, a master craftsman who understands that the best action emerges from character-driven storytelling. His 1995 opus, Heat, stands as the ultimate proof of this philosophy, delivering what many consider the single greatest action sequence ever captured on film. The genius of Heat lies in its patient character development between Al Pacino's obsessive detective Vincent Hanna and Robert De Niro's methodical thief Neil McCauley. These aren't cartoon heroes and villains. They're complex professionals who respect each other even as they're locked in mortal combat. The famous coffee shop scene, where they sit face to face discussing their inevitable confrontation, contains more tension than entire action franchises manage in 3 hours. But when Heat explodes into action, it becomes something transcendent. The downtown Los Angeles bank robbery and subsequent street shootout redefined what action cinema could achieve. Mann used real weapons with blanks, captured authentic muzzle flashes, and recorded genuine weapon sounds that make every gunshot feel visceral and immediate. The sequence runs nearly 15 minutes. Yet every second feels essential, building from methodical preparation to complete chaos with surgical precision. What makes this controversial? Some argue that Heat's 3-hour runtime and deliberate pacing make it more of a crime drama than a pure action film. But that's exactly what elevates it above typical genre exercises. It proves that the best action movies are always about something deeper than explosions. Terminator 2. Judgment Day revolutionized science fiction forever. James Cameron had already proven he would craft intimate sci-fi horror with the original Terminator. But his 1991 sequel took an entirely different approach. Bigger, louder, and somehow more emotionally resonant than its predecessor. Judgment Day didn't just raise the bar for action filmmaking. It launched the bar into orbit and left everyone else scrambling to catch up. The revolutionary liquid metal T-1000, brought to life through groundbreaking computer-generated imagery, represented a quantum leap forward for visual effects technology. But Cameron understood that technical wizardry means nothing without emotional stakes. The relationship between young John Connor, his protective mother Sarah, and the reprogrammed Terminator creates genuine heart beneath all the metallic mayhem. Arnold Schwarzenegger delivers his career-defining performance, transforming from unstoppable killing machine to surrogate father figure with surprising subtlety. Meanwhile, Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor evolution, from helpless victim to hardened warrior, remains one of cinema's most compelling character arcs. Her physical transformation mirrors her psychological journey, creating an action heroine who feels authentically dangerous rather than simply styled to look tough. The action sequences themselves are masterpieces of practical effects and stunt coordination. The motorcycle chase through the Los Angeles River channels, the Cyberdyne Systems infiltration, and the steel mill finale each represent different flavors of action excellence. Cameron proves that bigger doesn't have to mean dumber. Every explosion serves the story. Hard Boiled delivers unmatched gunfight choreography. Before John Woo brought his distinctive style to Hollywood, he perfected his craft in Hong Kong cinema with 1992's Hard Boiled, a film that redefined what action choreography could accomplish. This isn't just one of the greatest action movies ever made. It's a textbook on how to stage, shoot, and edit action sequences for maximum impact. Chow Yun-fat stars as Inspector Tequila Yuen, a jazz-loving cop who approaches gunfights with the same improvisational flair he brings to his trumpet playing. The parallel between musical performance and combat choreography runs throughout the film, with Woo treating each shootout like a carefully orchestrated symphony of destruction. The hospital sequence alone contains enough incredible moments to fuel 10 ordinary action movies. Woo's signature slow-motion techniques, elaborate camera movements, and balletic violence create something that transcends typical genre boundaries. Guns become dance partners, explosions punctuate dramatic beats, and every movement flows with musical precision. What sets Hard Boiled apart from American action cinema is its willingness to embrace pure stylistic excess without irony or self-consciousness. Woo commits completely to his vision of violence as art form, creating sequences that feel almost abstract in their beauty while remaining grounded in genuine emotion and character motivation. Here's where it gets controversial, though. Some critics argue that Hard-Boiled stylized violence glorifies brutality without sufficient moral context. Others counter that the film's obvious artificiality prevents any realistic interpretation. What's your take? Can action movies be too stylish for their own good? The Matrix transformed action cinema's visual language. The Wachowskis didn't just make a great action movie in 1999. They fundamentally altered how filmmakers approach action choreography, visual effects, and philosophical storytelling. The Matrix arrived like a software update for cinema itself, introducing concepts and techniques that immediately became industry standard. Keanu Reeves found his perfect role as Neo, the reluctant chosen one whose journey from computer programmer to digital messiah provides the perfect framework for the film's reality-bending action sequences. The supporting cast, including Lawrence Fishburne's wise Morpheus and Carrie-Anne Moss's lethal Trinity, creates an ensemble where every character feels essential rather than decorative. The famous bullet time photography technique, achieved through an array of still cameras triggered in sequence, allowed audiences to see action from impossible perspectives. But the Wachowskis understood that technical innovation means nothing without narrative purpose. Every slow-motion moment serves the story's themes about perception, reality, and human potential. The martial arts choreography, supervised by legendary action director Yuen Wu-ping, blends Eastern fighting styles with Western filmmaking techniques. The result feels both familiar and completely fresh, creating fight sequences that operate according to video game logic while maintaining emotional weight. But here's what makes The Matrix truly controversial. Its influence has been so pervasive that many argue it actually damaged action cinema by inspiring countless inferior imitators. Did this masterpiece accidentally create the template for soulless blockbuster filmmaking? Face Off showcases John Woo's American masterpiece. When Hong Kong legend John Woo made his Hollywood debut, skeptics wondered whether his distinctive style could translate to American sensibilities. His 1997 collaboration with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta provided a definitive answer. Not only could Woo's approach work in Hollywood, it could create something uniquely American while remaining unmistakably his own. The premise sounds completely ridiculous on paper. FBI agent Sean Archer and terrorist Castor Troy literally switch faces through surgical procedure, forcing each actor to portray the other's character. In lesser hands, this concept would collapse under its own absurdity. But Cage and Travolta commit so completely to their dual roles that the film transcends its silly premise to become something genuinely moving. Woo's signature elements, slow-motion gunfights, elaborate camera movements, doves in flight, feel perfectly integrated with American production values and star power. The action sequences, from the opening airport shootout to the speedboat finale, showcase his ability to stage large-scale mayhem without losing sight of character relationships. What makes Face Off special is its emotional core. Beneath all the stylized violence and face-swapping science fiction lies a genuine story about identity, family, and the thin line between hero and villain. When Archer inhabits Troy's body, he doesn't just gain physical access to the criminal underworld. He begins to understand his enemy's motivations in disturbing ways. True Lies combines domestic comedy with blockbuster spectacle. James Cameron proved he could handle intimate character drama and massive action spectacle simultaneously with this 1994 adventure that follows secret agent Harry Tasker as his carefully compartmentalized life explodes into chaos. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis create surprising chemistry as a married couple rediscovering each other amidst international terrorism and domestic deception. The genius of True Lies lies in its dual structure. Half the film operates as marital comedy, exploring how Harry's secret career has created distance in his marriage, while the other half delivers Cameron's trademark large-scale action sequences. The Harrier jet finale remains one of cinema's most audacious set pieces, combining practical effects with early digital technology to create something that still looks incredible decades later. Curtis delivers one of her finest performances, transforming from frustrated housewife to capable action partner without losing her essential humanity. Her character arc mirrors the femme's journey from intimate character study to globe-trotting adventure, proving that the best action movies always maintain human stakes, even when the explosions get bigger. The film's budget made it the most expensive movie ever produced at the time. But every dollar appears on screen through elaborate stunts, exotic locations, and cutting-edge effects work. Cameron understands that spectacle without character investment becomes meaningless, so he grounds every action beat in emotional reality. Mission Impossible launched Hollywood's most consistent action franchise. Brian De Palma brought his distinctive directorial style to Tom Cruise's career-defining role as Ethan Hunt, creating an action thriller that balanced practical stunts with psychological complexity. The 1996 film established the template that would sustain one of Hollywood's most successful and critically acclaimed action franchises for over 2 decades. The famous CIA Langley Vault infiltration sequence demonstrates everything that makes Mission Impossible special. It's a masterclass in tension building that relies on practical effects, precise timing, and Cruise's commitment to performing his own stunts. The image of Hunt suspended horizontally inches from the pressure-sensitive floor has become iconic, but it works because the sequence builds methodically to that moment through careful character and plot development. De Palma's background in psychological thrillers brings unexpected depth to what could have been simple spy action. The film's central mystery, involving Hunt's betrayal by his own agency, creates genuine paranoia and uncertainty that elevates every action sequence. When you can't trust anyone, every encounter becomes potentially lethal. The supporting cast, including Jon Voight, Jean Reno, and Ving Rhames, creates a world that feels lived in and authentic, rather than constructed solely for action beats. Each character has clear motivations and relationships that extend beyond their function in the plot, making their eventual betrayals and alliances feel genuinely surprising. Point Break perfects the adrenaline-fueled crime thriller. Kathryn Bigelow's 1991 masterpiece operates on pure kinetic energy, following FBI agent Johnny Utah as he infiltrates a gang of bank-robbing surfers, led by the charismatic Bodie. What could have been a simple cops and robbers story becomes something far more complex through its exploration of masculine identity, environmental philosophy, and the addictive nature of extreme experiences. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze create one of cinema's most compelling adversarial relationships. Utah begins his undercover assignment with clear moral certainties, but Bodhi's philosophy of living life to its absolute fullest gradually erodes those boundaries. Their relationship evolves from hunter and prey to something approaching spiritual brotherhood, making their final confrontation genuinely tragic. The action sequences themselves are marvels of practical stunt work and cinematography. The foot chase through suburban neighborhoods, the skydiving sequences, and the climactic bank robbery each showcase different aspects of Bigelow's ability to capture movement and momentum. She understands that great action emerges from character motivation rather than empty spectacle. Bigelow's direction brings unexpected philosophical depth to high-concept action material. Point Break asks serious questions about modern masculinity, environmental destruction, and the price of conformity, but never at the expense of delivering thrills. It's simultaneously thoughtful and visceral, proving that action movies can engage both heart and mind. The Last Boy Scout delivers cynical buddy comedy gold. Tony Scott and screenwriter Shane Black collaborated on this 1991 action comedy that pushed the buddy cop formula to its cynical extreme. Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans play damaged men forced together by circumstances, creating a partnership built on mutual distrust and grudging respect rather than easy camaraderie. What sets The Last Boy Scout apart from typical buddy comedies is its genuinely mean-spirited edge. These characters inhabit a world where everyone has compromised their principles for money or survival, making their eventual partnership feel earned rather than inevitable. The dialogue crackles with Black's signature wit, but the humor emerges from character flaws rather than situational comedy. The action sequences reflect the film's dark worldview through their emphasis on consequences and collateral damage. Scott's kinetic visual style captures violence with unflinching directness, making every gunshot and explosion feel dangerous rather than cartoonish. The football stadium finale combines large-scale spectacle with intimate character resolution in ways that feel both satisfying and surprising. Willis delivers one of his finest performances as Joe Hallenbeck, a disgraced Secret Service agent whose personal failures mirror the moral corruption surrounding him. Wayans matches him as Jimmy Dix, a former football star whose career was destroyed by gambling addiction. Their relationship develops through shared damage rather than mutual admiration. The Rock showcases Michael Bay's finest directorial achievement. Say what you will about Michael Bay's later career, but his 1996 thriller proves he possesses genuine filmmaking talent when working with strong material and seasoned actors. Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage create an unlikely partnership as they attempt to retake Alcatraz Island from a group of rogue Marines holding tourists hostage. Connery brings gravitas and wit to his role as John Mason, a mysterious prisoner who escaped from Alcatraz decades earlier. His chemistry with Cage's nervous FBI chemical weapons expert creates the film's emotional center, grounding Bay's typically excessive visual style in genuine character development. Their relationship evolves from mutual suspicion to respectful partnership through shared danger and gradual understanding. The film's villain, played by Ed Harris, represents one of action cinema's most sympathetic antagonists. General Hummel's motivation, securing proper benefits for families of soldiers killed in classified operations, makes moral sense even when his methods become extreme. This complexity elevates The Rock above typical good versus evil narratives. Bay's direction showcases his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses. The action sequences are large-scale and explosive, but they serve the story rather than overwhelming it. The Alcatraz setting provides natural boundaries that prevent the chaos from becoming incomprehensible, while the ticking clock premise maintains constant tension throughout. So here's the ultimate question that might divide action movie fans. Has Hollywood actually gotten worse at making action films since the 1990s? Or are we just viewing these classics through rose-colored glasses? These 10 films suggest that modern blockbusters have traded practical craftsmanship for digital spectacle, character development for franchise building, and genuine thrills for calculated formula. But maybe that's exactly what audiences want now. Or maybe we've simply forgotten what great action cinema looks like. What do you think? Are these 90s action thrillers genuinely superior to today's offerings? Or is this just nostalgia talking? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us which decade really produced the greatest action movies of all time. And if you disagree with any of these choices, especially putting Heat at number 1, we want to hear your argument for why we got it completely wrong.